I've been talking about myths that many managers believe, and I've been exploding them. And the one that I want to talk about today is the myth that you can get away with being too busy to work with your team. And if you do think you can get away with it, I think you're going to be in for a nasty surprise. If you don't meet with your team regularly, you are going to find that they are somewhat disengaged, that they probably don't solve problems together, that they don't act as a team, that they don't feel like a team, that the performance is not what you would like it to be. And you've probably got people who are not behaving in the mature kind of way that you would want. We simply can't lead teams of people and build teams if we never meet with them. Human beings are social creatures, and we build teams by spending time together. I think often what happens is that we stop holding team meetings because they start to feel somewhat pointless. We're not achieving what we think we ought to be achieving. They ramble on. They're not energetic. People go away with a sense of frustration. There are all sorts of things that cause our meetings to be less effective than they should be. So my position is that if you're leading a team, you really do need to meet with them regularly. And if you're working in an online world, it's even harder to build a team. So you need to be that much more purposeful in terms of how you do meet with your team. So I have some thoughts for you around how you could make those team meetings more effective, more purposeful, more energetic. You really want people going away from your meetings, having enjoyed the meeting, feeling that they've achieved something, taking away some new information, with a bounce in their step, looking forward to getting on with the work. So here are some thoughts. Make sure that you always have a clear agenda. Your meeting needs to have a purpose. If it's a weekly meeting, make sure that the purpose of that weekly meeting is clear. Have an agenda and have your agenda set out as decisions to be taken or questions to be answered. If you put it down in that way, then you know when that agenda item is covered, because either the decision is made or the question is answered. Have a clear starting time and a clear finishing time, and do stick to these. It shows that you have respect for your people's time, and it puts you in a position where you can expect that they will have respect for your time as well. And that respect is really important. When your meetings drag on and they always go over time, people start to become quite resentful, quite irritated, and you must expect that once you've gone over time, people are no longer engaged. You just don't have their attention anymore. You also need to make sure that your agenda items have a time limit. If you think an item is going to take 20 minutes to cover, then give it 20 minutes. Manage the discussion. Make sure that it's purposeful. Make sure that it keeps moving forward. And this brings me to my next point. As a team, agree on some ground rules for your team meetings. Agree on what you will do if you go off track. Agree on whose responsibility it is to bring things back on track. In my view, everybody shares that responsibility. It's not just your responsibility as the leader of the team to manage every aspect of the team meeting. It's absolutely appropriate for a member of the team to say, hang on, guys, I think we've gone off track. Can we come back to the topic that we're talking about? A really useful technique in order to make sure that everybody contributes is the idea of rounds. And if you've never come across them, I would encourage you to look at the work of Nancy Klein in terms of managing your meetings. A round works like this. It requires every person in the meeting to speak once before any person in the meeting may speak twice. And this works really well because it means that everyone has a responsibility to contribute, and it means that you control the propensity for certain people to dominate. And therefore, what you get is the contribution from everybody. And the way that it works is if you have a question to be answered, then you ask the question and you go around the meeting and you get everybody to make their contribution. Now that works beautifully because it means that people don't interrupt each other. It also means that by the time it gets to you, you shouldn't be repeating what somebody has said before. It's your opportunity to contribute something new. And therefore, even if it is a decision to be taken, everybody has contributed something in the direction of that decision. And you will find that you end up with a great deal of very useful information. I've found, in fact, that meetings are shorter when we work this way, when you might, in fact, think that they would be longer. Part of your ground rules needs to be that you won't indulge stories. We love to tell our stories. We love to hear our voices. But we need to have an agreement as a team that when we get the point, we will move on. And if one of us is rambling, then somebody else will say, we get the point. I think it's time to move on. It's also important that everybody agrees that they will keep their contribution relevant to the agenda. If topics come up that need discussion but are not the subject for the meeting that you're having right now, agree on when you will discuss it and put it in a parking lot that you will absolutely come back to. So those are ground rules for your meeting. Also make sure that your agenda item is dealt with. Don't move on to the next agenda item unless you know that the question has been answered. And it's a way of summing up that agenda item. So we agree that the decision we're going to take is the following. Then you've wrapped up that agenda item. It can be recorded as a decision taken. Finally, make sure that action items are really clear. Who will do what? By when will they do it? How will they do it? What could get in the way? How will you know that something has happened? If something gets in the way, what will you do about it? How will we as a team know that it's completed and ticked off? Make sure that everybody in the meeting is able to make a contribution and has a contribution to make. If they have no contribution to make, then why are they there? And a last recommendation that I would make is open your meetings up for review. You need to give your team members the opportunity to comment on what went well in this meeting. What did we not do so well in this meeting? What do we need to take care to do better next time? And it's not about you being judged as the leader of the meeting. It's about the fact that the effectiveness of your team meetings is a shared responsibility. And the willingness to review how effective you are and to make commitments to changes for next time is going to enhance the quality of your meetings. I am prepared to guarantee that if you take some of these tips and you put them into your meetings, you're going to find that your meetings are effective, that there is purpose to them, that you as a leader of the team are seeing the benefit of meeting with your team regularly, and your team is seeing the benefit as well. Nobody likes coming to a routine, boring meeting that we have to endure. We really do need to attend good, purposeful, useful meetings and go away with a clear sense of the work to be done. And in fact, a sense of excitement about the work to be done, because the quality of the meeting has been energizing.